Hey guys, welcome back to another What's for Dinner video. I have got some delicious real life meals to share with you. Today we are going to be having some baked butter chicken with some roasted spaghetti squash, as well as some roasted garlic Parmesan broccoli. So let's get started. All right, we are going to get our chicken ready for the oven, and I need some of these round crackers. It calls for Ritz crackers or anything similar. And I am cutting this recipe in half, but I will have the original recipe linked for you. I'm not actually measuring this, but we want about a half a cup of crushed crackers. All right, that might be a little more than I needed, but that's okay. And then we want a quarter of a teaspoon of garlic salt, which I do not have. So I'm just gonna use some garlic powder and some salt. And I'm just gonna mix this in here. And then I have 1 egg here that we just want to whisk up. And then I have a, I was gonna say buttered, but it's greased with olive oil, but whatever. Baking dish right here. I've got my chicken to the side over here. And you're just going to, as you would expect, we're gonna dip the chicken breast into the egg and then into the crackers. And just make sure that you get this coated really good. I like to, you could use your hands if you want. I really don't want to, but I'm just gonna pat that in really good and make sure that we have a good amount there. And then we're gonna take the extras and pour it on top. So I feel like as long as one side is pretty well coated, we're good here. I have just a couple tiny little pieces of chicken here that I don't wanna waste from when I was trimming off the chicken. Just do them real quick. All right, I'm just gonna take the rest of our crackers. Can't really see it, wrong direction here. And sprinkle those on top here. All right, we're gonna put this in the oven at 375 for 40 to 45 minutes, or until your chicken is done, based on how big your chicken breasts are. I'm also gonna throw the spaghetti squash in at the same time. Just kidding, guys, I nearly forgot. I also wanna take a quarter cup of butter that has been cut up into small pieces, and I'm just going to place that all over the chicken. All right, so something like that. We're gonna pop this in the oven now. So now we're gonna get ready to do our broccoli. I was a little bummed because when I pulled the broccoli out of the fridge, I saw that some of it had a little bit of yellow. From what I can see online, it looks like that could mean it's gonna be bitter, like it's gone bad, not like moldy, but it's not all like that. And I tried to cut off like the worst of it. So we're gonna give it a shot. It's not like gonna make you sick or anything. Anyways, we are going to put in a bowl here 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil, 1.5 cloves of garlic, or just however much you want. At least that's what I do when it comes to garlic. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I got this all weird. Here we go. 1/8 cup of Italian breadcrumbs. I don't have that. Hang on, let me see if I have an open one of these. All right, I don't. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't opening up a new one unnecessarily. So I'm gonna just put in about 1/8 of a cup, and then I'm gonna add in a little bit of Italian seasoning, and there you go. We got Italian breadcrumbs. And then 1/4 cup of Parmesan. Gonna give that a little mix before I toss in our broccoli that I've already chopped up. The recipe, well, I actually have this recipe as well, but it would be about 3 cups for what I'm doing. I don't know, this much. I'm gonna put just a little bit more oil to help make everything stick to the broccoli. I've got a baking sheet that I've lined with foil and sprayed. We're just gonna pour this out. I've got a little bit of a bigger baking sheet because I don't want to crowd the broccoli. I'm a little bit curious if the garlic and cheese might burn, like the stuff that's like just loosely on the pan, but it'll be fine. Gonna toss this again here, make sure we got it kind of evenly distributed. Okay, now the recipe suggested at 425, but everything else is at 375. But 425 for 18 to 20 minutes, I'm just gonna pop it in and keep an eye on it. Spaghetti squash was done when I checked it, so I did bump the oven up to 425 to finish out the chicken and the broccoli, and I put the thermometer in the chicken and it's getting close. I also just wanted to mention, I did not share with you doing the spaghetti squash just because you just cut it open, scoop out the seeds, and put it in the oven. But I did want to mention, I tried something new today. Well, I've tried it before, but today was really successful. Cutting open a spaghetti squash can be kind of dangerous. So I looked up some ideas and suggestions, and I'll try to remember to share it with you next time I do it. But I kind of like scored along the edge, the perimeter of it, not all the way through, just like little holes, and then put it in the microwave for 5 minutes, let it cool a little bit, and then cut it open. And it was so much easier and a lot less dangerous. So I highly recommend that. And it worked this time, so I will try to remember to share it with you next time we have spaghetti squash. All right, so the chicken took a little bit longer because this one breast was really big and took a little longer. So actually we split it, which is great because now we got one for leftovers. And I decided to put a little butter and Parmesan on my spaghetti squash, and there's the broccoli. That's our dinner for tonight. All right, so Jesse just got done eating dinner, and he told me what he thought about the meal, and I was like, I'm making you say it again on camera. So what did you say about that meal?
I told her put that one in the top 5. That's my top 5 list of meals that she's made for us. It was so good. I told her I looked forward to every bite of all the things. It doesn't mean that I don't always look forward to all the bites from all of the things, but I really enjoyed that chicken so much. And so I just said, whatever you did, do it the same way next time. The broccoli was great. It had like breadcrumbs in it or something, and it was a little al dente, which was fun. In that style, almost like a sheet pan style, I think it was. Make it for your friends and family today.
For tonight's dinner, we are going to be making a cheeseburger tater tot casserole, which I'm pretty excited about. I had a partial bag of tater tots left in the freezer from a while back, and I decided I wanted to use it, and I found this recipe and thought it sounded good. I am going to be cutting the recipe about in half, maybe a little bit more. So I will have the original recipe linked down below for you so that you can figure out the measurements appropriately. But yeah, so let's get started. I started off here browning up some ground beef, and I chopped up an onion in here. Now this package of meat is, I think it was like 20 ounces or something like that. So I definitely don't need that much. So I'm gonna take about half of this out when it's all cooked and just throw it in the freezer for another quick and easy dinner another time. But we're gonna just get this all browned up and the onions nice and cooked. All right, so I have my meat. I took out about half of it and drained it. Did I say that already? Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and start adding stuff in here. So we're going to add in about a half a cup of bacon. And I'm just gonna use these real bacon pieces. I get these from Aldi. It's a cheat, but they're really good. They're not like the hard crunchy bacon bits. They're like real bacon pieces. I'm gonna add in about a half a cup of ketchup, about a tablespoon and a half or so of mustard. And then I diced up some dill pickles. The recipe calls for 1/3 cup, so I try to do about half that. Don't really worry about measuring stuff here. And then about a half a teaspoon each of garlic powder and onion powder. And then it calls for seasoned salt, like salt and pepper, but seasoned salt, actually it doesn't actually call for pepper, but I never use pepper anyway. You can use regular salt. I have some of this Herbamare left, which is a seasoned salt. It's getting low, but I am gonna add some of this in. Getting low, see if I can get any to come out. All right, we're gonna give this a good mix to combine it. I'm gonna add in just a little bit more ketchup. I did not measure it, and it just looks like it needs a little more. I'm gonna use, I think this is an 8.5 by 11. I'm not totally sure, but that's what we're gonna use. My square pan is currently in use. Now that we got it sprayed, we're gonna just put our meat mixture in here. Now we're gonna top with some shredded cheese. This is such a super quick and easy meal to throw together. Now we're gonna put our tater tots. I have these ones from Aldi. And we're just, sorry, hang on. I spotted a hair on my shirt and I didn't want it to fall into the food. I'm not sure if I have enough here. I didn't really check, but we're just gonna start laying them out and see what we come up with. I don't think I'm gonna have enough if I do like full straight rows there. So I'm just gonna kind of spread it out more. I am gonna take the little breading pieces at the bottom because they'll be crispy still. Like I said, clearing out the freezer was part of my inspiration here. So we're just gonna use what we have left of these. All right, and I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees. I'm gonna pop this in for 30 minutes. All right, so it has been 30 minutes. We're gonna top with just a little bit more cheese. And then I'm just gonna put the rest of these bacon bits, whatever's left in the bag. All right, I'm gonna put this back in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we will let it sit for 5 minutes before we serve it up. All right, there it is, fresh out of the oven. It is sizzling and bubbling, and I'm just gonna let that rest for, 5 minutes or so before we serve it up. But this is what is for dinner tonight, and it looks and smells delicious. For tonight's dinner, we're gonna have some baked boneless, skinless chicken thighs, because if you saw my recent grocery haul, I picked some up, marked down at Aldi. They were $2 off. So I found a recipe to try for some seasonings. So we're gonna get started with those in the bowl. I'm gonna start with 2 tablespoons. It says a smoked paprika, but I don't have that. I should probably get that because I feel like a lot of recipes do call for smoked paprika, but whatever. Now, 1 tablespoon of chili powder. I'm not sure, I might end up having too much seasoning because the recipe is for 6 to 8 thighs, and I'm not sure how many are in my package, but that's okay. We're gonna go with it anyway. And then we're going to do, oh, you know what? The chili powder was supposed to be 1 teaspoon, not 1 tablespoon. So just gonna be a little more chilied. This is supposed to be tablespoon. We're going to do 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Just gonna mix all of that together. All right, now I am adding in the chicken thighs, or I added in the chicken thighs, and I'm just tossing them around, flipping them to coat them in the seasoning. All right, now I have a baking sheet lined with foil, and we're just gonna spray it with some olive oil, and then we're gonna lay these out. Obviously, I do have too much seasoning. Didn't need to make quite as much, but that's okay. And I'm going to just drizzle on some avocado oil over the top of these. And we're gonna bake this in the oven at 425 degrees for 20 to 30 minutes, flipping them halfway in between. All right, there's dinner. I am just serving this alongside some leftover spaghetti squash and some steamed broccoli, and that was a really quick dinner, and it smells delicious. Tonight's dinner is gonna be super easy. We are going to have steaks on the grill and some salads. So I pulled out these steaks. I think they are sirloin steaks. Yesterday, they're now out on the counter because, you don't want to cook cold steaks. You want them to warm up a little bit. And now I'm just going to season them real quick. All right, so my husband just wanted salt and pepper. And I want to do some salt. Sorry, I tried to do this while holding the camera, and it's proving itself to be trickier than I thought. Some onion powder. Well, actually, that was garlic powder. Now I'm doing onion powder, but salt, onion powder, garlic powder. And now we're gonna do the other side. I need to mark these so that he knows which is which, because I have a feeling once the seasonings kind of soak in, it'll be harder to tell. I just stuck a toothpick inside his steak so that we'll know which is which. He won't leave that in while grilling, but it'll help him remember when we get to the point of grilling whose is whose. All right, just the basic little salads here. I mean, they look delicious, but they're pretty basic. All right, and there is Jesse's steak. Lots of juices. I think he's about to take some of those juices off. And my steak, and that's what is for dinner tonight. All right, guys, it is the next day, and I just wanted to wrap up this video and let you know, last night my husband said to me, we ate really good food this week. So, winners for the dinners. Subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.